So now we've got our dev instance set up. We can do previews. We also understand a little bit about Git branching. What we can do now is we can actually go through a work example of the dev staging production flow. And I'm not going to recapitulate the entire interactive session here. You should do this on your own. But we're just going to hit the high notes. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to be deploying to these two URLs your username bitstarter-mooc.herokuapp.com and bitstarter-s-mooc.herokuapp.com. There's a 30 character limit, so try and keep it underneath this. If you need to change this a little bit, that's fine, but try to keep this if at all possible, and use a shorter GitHub username if necessary. You should have enough space. And the commands you're going to type in over here, basically, the commentary should give you the gist. You're going to set up an EC2 instance and so on. Where it starts to get interesting over here is this part. So up to this part, up to line 26 is stuff we've done, kind of getting a web server running. Now we are checking out a branch. We're creating a develop branch, and we're going to create it remotely on the origin as well. That is, say, on GitHub. Here we check out another branch, and we push that to the origin as well. We use Heroku to create both the staging and the production branches. Then we kind of simulate the development process. We're just going to check out develop, make an edit, commit that edit, push it to GitHub. And then here, we're going to now start the web server. And then what we do is, and usually you'll want to do that in another tab, as you'll see just a little bit later on in the screenshots. Once we've got that edit in develop branch, we're now going to check out the staging branch, merge in our commits from develop, and then push these onto Heroku. And then we're going to preview that in the browser. We're going to see that if there's any issues. If there is a bug, we go back to develop, we check out develop, we make the edit, we push that to GitHub. We then also go back and check out staging, merge develop commits back in, and then push this to staging on GitHub, and then push it to staging on Heroku. So a little bit, of context to keep track of. You want to keep context, and track of whether you're on the develop branch or the staging branch, where your edits are going, and so on and so forth. And really, there's at least three different things. There's the fact that there's a develop branch on GitHub, there's a staging branch on GitHub, and there's also a staging server where we're previewing these changes. So these are kind of all the guys that you work with up until the point that you feel that you've got something that works on staging. And then at that point, what you do is you check out the master branch, merge the staging commits in, and then push that to production. And if this works, fantastic, you've got a release of your site. You check out the develop branch, and then you go back to editing and improving it some more. Over the next 10 pages or so, there's basically screenshots that illustrate these steps. Here is the actual GitHub repository, and if you did git push-u origin develop and origin staging, you'll have created these branches remotely. You can check that you did that properly if you just go to the your own URL on this. Then this is how the Heroku commands look. Here's kind of the simulation of the editing process. Here is how you sort of run the web.js in one tab, and then you do your editing in like another tab, right? So this is one screen tab, so this is in tab 2, and that's in tab 1 of screen. Then here's what this kind of site looks like when you're previewing it on the dev server. Here's what it looks like when you preview it on staging. And this stuff over here is kind of the exact mechanics of how it looks when you make these edits at the command line. So go through this on your own, and this will kind of give you some idea of the dev staging production flow.